Oh, well, finally. It's taken a lot longer than we expected, but this was a one-man show after all. But we finally completed 100 simulations of the Qatar 22 World Cup in Football Manager. That's right, we have set up and run 100 simulations, and I've gone through every save file. I've logged every winner, every losing finalist, every knockout round performance, every group stage elimination, every award winner, even everyone nominated for the Dream 11. And in today's video, we're going to look at all of that, including a few surprise results along the way. But before we go any further, why not pause the video at this point and just pop down into the comments and leave your predictions in answer to these questions. So the file I'm using, it's my own real World Cup groups mod. This mod has fully accurate groups. All the knockout rounds, all the bracketing for the knockout rounds is fully accurate. The stadiums are all accurate. And for the purposes of this video, I set up a game with all international players loaded and the World Cup mod loaded, of course. And I used the Canadian Premier League, as that gives the option to start the game in April 2022. I then holidayed up to the eve of the World Cup competition in November, and I made a save point there and used that as my base file for all these simulations. So that means each simulation has been run with the same squads and the same setup as determined by the AI, and all World Cup matches have been run on full detail, so there's no quick sim results in here. And one thing before we get started, a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters, without whom this wouldn't have been possible. Their support has been much appreciated over the last few months, so to return the favour, I did initially make this World Cup Groups mod available as a Patreon exclusive perk, but I am now making it freely available to everyone, and there'll be details on how you can download it later on in the video, so stick around for that. But first up, let's start with a teaser of the main winners. On the screen now, you can see a breakdown of the winners by continent. Now, European nations have won every World Cup from 2006 onwards, and Football Manager 2022 expects more of the same, with a whopping 84% of these 100 simulations being won by UEFA representatives. So we're going to start with a group-by-group breakdown. Now, rather than doing average points or average positions, I've gone for qualification rate. So we'll be looking at how many times out of 100 each team managed to get out of the group and ranking them accordingly. So we start in Group A. The Netherlands, of course, are the heavy favourites for that group, and that's how it played out, as they qualified in 92% of the simulations. Senegal were in second with a 69% qualification rate. Hosts Qatar just pipped Ecuador to third place with a 21% qualification rate, compared to 18% for the lowest ranked South American nation. Now, we will get into which nations won the World Cup how many times later on in the video, but just to give you a general picture here, from Group A, there were two different winners winning the World Cup a total of 9 times. Group B, now FM22 was obviously coded in the aftermath of the Euros and before England's Nation League woes of the early summer, and so the Three Lions dominate Group B with a 99% qualification rate, the highest of any of the teams in the competition. Now, I got a little bit of criticism in my previous World Cup simulation video for writing off the USA, and well, the simulations have backed up my viewers, as USA are second in Group B. Wales place third with a 37% rate, and Iran managed to qualify only 8 times across the entire 100 simulations. How many times did teams from this group go on to win the competition? 30. How many winners from this group? Well, at the risk of giving too much away, 1. On to Group C now, and this one is a true three-way dance. Argentina just about topped the group with a 71% success rate. Mexico gets second with 69%. Poland are third with 59%. It will be a tough call between which two of those three go through in real life, I think. Saudi Arabia, meanwhile, put in the worst performance out of all 32 nations at the World Cup with a 1% qualification rate. That's correct, they only got out of the group once out of 100 attempts. Overall, Group C produced 2 different winners with 8 victories out of 100. Group D is a bit more straightforward to call. Despite the World Cup curse rearing its head on a few occasions, France still managed a 92% qualification success rate, closely followed by Denmark on 84%. Australia limp into third place, getting out of the group a mere 15% of the time, but Tunisia not as bad as Saudi Arabia, but still, only 4 times they managed to get out of this group. 2 different winners emerged from this group, no prizes for guessing who, with a total of 13 victories in the final. We have 2 heavyweights of world football in Group E, and that's exactly how things played out with our qualification rates. Germany came out on top with 92%, and Spain got 89%. So needless to say, we have 2 of the weaker performers in the competition in this group. Japan managed to qualify just 12% of the time, while Costa Rica have a qualification rate that I'm sure will make the football fans in New Zealand happy, 7%. And this group also produced 2 winners, 14 titles between them. Now Group F is an interesting one, quite competitive and unique in my 100 simulations as being the only group to produce 4 different winners. Now, of course, Morocco won sim number 1. We already documented that on the channel. And in a moment of perfect symmetry, it was Canada who won sim number 100. In total, 16 victories were recorded coming out of Group F. But in terms of the standing, Croatia had an 85% qualification rate. For Belgium, it was 65%. A bit of a drop to Morocco on 27% and Canada on 23%. But really, in real life, this group's going to be tough to call. Now, Group G is also an interesting one. We go back to 2 nations from this group going on to win, but only 7 titles, which is quite a surprise with Brazil being in there. Indeed, Brazil had a somewhat surprisingly low, for them at least, qualification rate of 82%, and they even finished bottom of the group 4 times. Switzerland placed second, a fairly strong showing, 69% qualification rate. Serbia managed to get out of the group 39 times, and FM clearly sees Cameroon as the weakest link in the group, 10%. And the final group, Group H, which according to my simulations is the weakest group in the competition. I say that because in all the simulations, this group is unique in only producing 1 champion, and then that nation only managed to win 3 of the World Cups out of 100. Portugal and Uruguay, as you might expect, were the top 2 teams in the group. South Korea managed to qualify on 31 occasions, but Ghana, a bit of a nightmare for them in the simulations, with a mere 9 times they were able to get out of the group. So that's all of the groups done. Now, based on those qualification rate rankings that we looked at, that would give us a second round looking like this. However, that would not tell the whole story, of course, as every nation in the competition qualified for the second round at least once. There were 3 teams who would not manage to go any further than the round of 16 across the 100 simulations, and they were the 3 worst performing teams in the group stage. Saudi Arabia lost their only appearance in the second round. Tunisia qualified 4 times but lost all 4, and Costa Rica also lost in all 7 of their second round appearances. Most successful teams in this round? Well, England pop up here again. They won 86% of their second round matches. Also doing well with the Netherlands and Uruguay, who both won 74% of their second round ties. But there were a few big teams who surprisingly struggled in the second round. Argentina, for example, only managed to win 53% of their second round matches. Belgium a mere 46%, and Brazil only 56%. On then to the quarterfinals. So we already know that Saudi Arabia, Tunisia and Costa Rica never made it this far, and for 4 more nations the quarterfinals was as good as it got. So it was Ghana, Cameroon, Australia and Qatar who never got beyond this point. You've probably spotted a bit of a pattern by now, but England were the most successful nation in the quarterfinals, winning 72% of their matches. Germany were also successful in this round, winning 67% of their appearances. Spain had a 63% win rate. Also making a noteworthy impact in the quarterfinal round was Portugal, but for the wrong reasons. They were the most eliminated team at this stage. 64 times they make the quarterfinals, but they were eliminated 40 times, giving them a win rate of just 37.5%. Semi-final time then. Overall, we had 24 different nations reach this stage at least once. The ones who never made it to the final: Japan, South Korea, Ecuador, and Serbia. Percentage-wise, the best performing team in the semi-final stage was not England, it was Wales. Yep, The Welsh won 100% of the semi-finals they appeared in. Sure, they only appeared in one semi-final, but you can't argue with stats. Of the teams that played in multiple semi-finals, France came out on top, winning 70% of their last 4 clashes. Also doing well were England with a 69% win rate, and when Mexico made it this far, they generally went on to the final with a 62.5% success rate. Croatia also did well at this stage, winning 60% of their semi-final appearances. So anybody interested in the third place playoff? Well, let's take a quick look anyway. Now, this is where things get a little unrealistic. England won 16 times in the third place playoff, and we know they never win that match. And you can see the number of third and fourth place finishes for all the teams who competed in this particular match on screen right now. Now for the final. First up, let's look at the surprise winners. We've already mentioned Canada and Morocco, and they were joined by Senegal in the one-win club. In fact, all of those nations have a 100% win rate in the final, having won their only appearance. Of the outsider European nations, shall we say, Denmark and Switzerland both managed 2 wins apiece. Also, something of a surprise was Mexico, with 3 victories across the 100 simulations and 10 appearances in total in the final. Portugal were the only team from Group H to win the trophy. Perhaps surprising to see them only win 3 times out of 9 appearances in the final. Spain are also a bit low down on the list, winning 4 finals in 12 appearances. And we then have Belgium, Brazil and Argentina with 5 wins apiece. Brazil and Argentina accounting for all the South American wins. And Poland, Uruguay, USA and Wales, they were the teams who made it to the final but never managed to win the trophy. And now our top 5. The Netherlands lifted the trophy 8 times, but we should also note at this point that they were the team to lose most often in the final, finishing as runners-up 15 times out of 23 final appearances. Croatia had an impressive showing with 9 wins. They were just behind Germany, who won 10 times, and France, who won 11. Which leaves us with England. As we've seen, England dominated almost every round statistically. The final was no different. Gareth Southgate's boys made it to the final 42 times out of 100, and they won 30 of them. It's coming home, everyone. Alright, but stay with me. We're going to keep rolling for the player awards. Now, with England reaching the latter stages and winning the competition so often, it'll be no surprise to see that English players feature quite heavily in the awards. We're going to start with best goalkeeper. Now, on these simulations, Football Manager favoured Aaron Ramsdale over Jordan Pickford as the number 1, and he picked up the Golden Glove Award 24 times. Also in the top 5 were Hugo Lloris, Justin Bijlow, Emiliano Martinez and Alisson. The Best Young Player Award also sees a member of the England squad dominate. Jude Bellingham picked up that particular prize 34 times. Not too far behind him though was Ansu Fati, who got it 27 times. And some way behind the top 5 were Pedri, Gvardiol and Timber. The Golden Boot saw 4 players in equal 5th as Neymar, Kramaric, Rashford and Raul Jimenez each topped the scoring chart 6 times. Timo Werner also found his shooting boots with 8 top scorer awards. Mbappe was top scorer 9 times, Lukaku did it 10 times, and who else but Harry Kane was the most frequent Golden Boot winner, picking up that title 12 times. So from Golden Boot to Golden Ball for the Best Player Award. As ever, attacking players tend to dominate here, so we get Ronaldo and Lukaku joint 5th with 5 each. Rashford and Mbappe are joint 3rd with 6 apiece. And then that English dominance again, as Harry Kane was named Best Player 13 times, but the number 1 player across all these simulations, 19 times winner, Phil Foden. And we're going to wrap things up with the Dream Team. Now the game puts these players into a 4-4-2 formation, so I've picked which player was named in each position most often. So that gives us, surprise surprise, Aaron Ramsdale in goal, Reece James at right back, who for some reason kept getting the nod over Trent, and Ben Chilwell at left back. Tomori was chosen as one of the best centre backs, but we finally get a non-English player as Raphael Varane was the other centre-back. We then have Phil Foden and Jude Bellingham in the centre of midfield, Raheem Sterling and Memphis Depay on the wings, and Harry Kane and Kylian Mbappe up front. So basically, it's the England team with 3 guest players. We are finally there. Those are all the key takeaways from my 100 simulations of the World Cup on Football Manager. For a more detailed breakdown of individual nations and players across these 100 simulations, check out my TikTok, where I'll be doing short form videos on request for those. And as promised earlier, information now on how you can download my mod for World Cup 2022. So your first option is Steam Workshop. If you play the game on Steam, simply head over to the workshop, the link's down in the description. Make sure you're logged in and click on the subscribe button. The file will then be automatically downloaded to your editor data folder, and you can choose it when you set up your next game. If you don't play FM on Steam, or you just don't like the workshop, there's also a Mediafire link down in the description. So simply download the file, add it to your editor data file, and set up your game. And here's a video showing you how to do exactly that. Don't forget to like and subscribe.